Imagine a place to climb, to tumble, to fly, to run, to glide, to achieve, where a sense of health, friendly competition, and growth all come together. Can you imagine that place, that destination? We have, and we're building it right now in Windsor, with a planned development of almost 200,000 square feet of athletic playground, and that's just on the inside. Central Park Athletics, some of it's already here, the rest is coming soon. Imagine that.
Welcome to the AKO press conference following the championship game after AKO's 18-10 victory over the Hamilton Hurricanes for their second straight championship title. We have Jake Nicoletti, Defensive Player of the Game, in studio, as well as Curtis Holmes, Special Teams Player of the Week, and Mike LaChance, as well as Mike Morencie. So I'm going to hand it over to Mike LaChance for his comments on the game versus Hamilton.
Well, finally a press conference where I'm going to smile more than frown. Anytime you win a championship, it feels good. Last year felt great. We were kind of the underdogs last year, probably a heavy underdog last year, to say the least. And that one felt good. It was our first one in quite some time, my first one as a head coach. This year was a little bit different. I thought with how we recruited in the offseason, with the talent level we brought in, and how deep our roster was, I thought we were the favorite going into the season. And I think the league viewed us as such. You know what, we got off to a rough start on the season and we lost in Hamilton. I don't think we played very well, but we still knew, our coaching staff knew after the game what kind of team we had and what we had to do to get it straightened around. And you know what, it wasn't always pretty this year. We ran the table after that, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We did that. Like I said, there were some ups and downs, obviously, well documented along the way. But wins are wins, and you pile them up. And when you get to the playoffs, it's really all that matters. Top of my play sheet, the first thing it says is win by any means necessary. And you know what? It's not, especially calling offense or defense, if you're a coordinator, you don't always do exactly the things you want. And you don't, at that point, you don't care if it's aesthetically pleasing. You just want to win it. And you do what you're good at. And I told our guys at halftime, you find out as a coach what you're good at, and you do it to perfection. Whether that's running the ball, playing solid run defense, rushing the passer, whatever you do well in any facet of the game, you just do it to the best of your ability. You don't try to be something that you're not, and we didn't. We didn't pretend we were the second coming of the San Diego Chargers in the 70s and threw it all over the park. That's not what we did. Did we want to do that sometimes? Yeah, we did. A little bit selfishly, we wanted to make it a little more fun that way. But we knew what we could do, and we did it real well. And our guys took a lot of pride in it as the season went on. And in the playoffs, we knew what we were doing. I think the other team knew what we were doing, and they still had a very difficult time kind of stopping that momentum. A little bit of a slow start, obviously, offensively. We didn't rack up a ton of first downs, and it wasn't a great offensive showing. But again, the game plan was worked the way we wanted it to. It takes a while sometimes for a running game to click. It's not like a passing game where you pop one early. Most running teams, especially with the big offensive line, you lean on people, you pressure them. Defensively, you play physical the whole game. And as the game goes on into the second half, into the third quarter, late in the third quarter, you could see that Hamilton started to kind of break. Frustration penalties started to mount. I think they had 9 second-half penalties for 100 yards to our 1 penalty for 5, and I really think that's probably the telltale stat of the game. And I think a lot of that is frustration. Just you get heavy guys leaning on you, and you get a power running game with Cody McCann leading the way, filling in for Donkers, and it works. And you know what? It was good enough to win us a championship. And whether it was 18-10, 50-0, or 1-0, it really didn't matter to me or any guy in the team. We just wanted that championship, and back-to-back feels good, and it's been a long, long time since we've been able to say that. I mean, winning an Ontario championship is great, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't wanting more. Last year, obviously, we were playing for a Canadian title. In the Jostens Cup, we're playing for the right to get there, and we got walloped pretty good. And I'd like a shot. I know we're not going to get that shot this year. And, you know, the age limit increase in Ontario and not happening out west is the reason for that. And it's sad in a way. I mean, I love winning it. And Ontario's our goal at the start of the year. That's what we set our sights on. But it's nice to get out of province and see what you could do against somebody else. And whether that's out west or out east or somewhere in between, it's nice to be able to play somebody you haven't really set your eyes on before. So hopefully it does happen, and it looks like it's going in the right direction, but we'll find out later today. In a way, no, we did a good job. We knew Donkers was going to be out from the onset of the week. He didn't practice all week. He warmed up in pregame, but that was more for show than anything else. We put him on the roster. We gave up one roster spot basically to keep that kind of facade going on. And we knew they were going to key on him, obviously. You're keying on McCann at fullback and Donkers at tailback. That's what we've done all year. But we also knew we had real capable backups, whether that was going to be a guy like Juma stepping up or a guy like Michael Weber stepping up or a guy like Cody McCann sliding back to the tailback, the feature back position in our offense. We knew we had those kind of options. And to be honest, if Cody McCann played feature all year, he'd have led the league in rushing. He's a tremendous back. He was at Essex High School. He was with the Essex Ravens, and he is for us. He loves playing running back more than fullback. He would love to be 8 yards deep in the backfield and pounding it and getting the ball 35 times a game. That's what he likes to do. He accepted the fact that he was going to be our fullback this year just because he might be the best blocker that I've ever had at AKO, leading the way. He gets through the whole hard, and he gets up on people, and he's super effective. Basically, the second half was a little bit surprising. I don't know, Hamilton, if they didn't find the key or whatever, but I mean, wherever I moved him, that's where he was getting the ball. When he was at tailback, that's when we needed to run at the tailback spot when we needed those tough yards. When he was at fullback, I basically gave him the ball on traps and inside runs at fullback. So when you see a second fullback, Darubas going to the game, Cody was sliding back to the feature. And when he slid up to the fullback, we brought in Juma for the tailback spot. But so, I mean, that, I guess, was surprising. But it's a short span to be able to key on that as a coach. And we kind of knew that. First half, we did a good job just moving things around and keeping it not so much smoke and mirrors, but a little bit under the covers. In the second half, we've kind of unleashed what we thought we were going to do all week. You take a great defense like we have the best defense in the province, and you take out John Monahan at defensive end, Mason Pikas at outside linebacker, and Richard Veenstra in the secondary, and still the best defense. You add those three into it, and it's pretty crazy. A lot of depth, though. Like I said, we recruited hard in the offseason. We specifically recruited some positions real hard. Coach Morencie runs a real good high-pressure defense and a linebacker-friendly unit, and our linebackers are great, and they're deep. It's really, you could argue, a CIS-level linebacking core with the size. I mean, their linebackers are real good on Hamilton, too. They're real athletic, but they're 205 pounds. Our linebackers are 240. So it's a big unit. It's a big, aggressive, physical unit that plays their role to almost perfection at the end of the year. And you know what? Hamilton's got a real good offense, and they've got a good offensive coach. In Jason Hayes, and he does a good job of moving things around. And in the past, he's had some success against us. They put up some 40s on us the last couple of years. And this year, it was a little bit different. We did some things different on them, and we kind of threw some different looks at them at times and kind of confused them. But we did really in that game what we do best. We brought the heat. We brought it often. We brought it early, and we brought it hard. And that's tough. It's nice to be able to schematically say I could do this and I could do that, but when someone... The old saying, you always have a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And first play of the game, we struck first, and I think that it was just kind of, we could roll on defense from that. And I never really thought that we were in jeopardy of being scored on. Maybe until the end of the game, until a long return, that was pretty scary. But I mean, our offense didn't move it well either. Their defense played great too. But I'm real confident in our defense. And I mean, I'm confident in the scheme, and I'm confident in the talent. I just think our coaching staff does a good job with the talent that we have, and we have lots of it. So kudos to the staff and kudos to those guys on defense because, I mean, as an offensive guy, I call plays against them every day in practice, and we go head-to-head every day, and they win a lot more than we do in practice. So I could see where it's frustrating on the other side. Glad to be on this side of it on game day.
This kind of the situation is kind of a fluid situation going on right now. It really got started yesterday when the North Shore SaberCats won the Quebec Junior Football League Championship. So. And we've got a couple days to get this thing rolling. The negotiations are going okay. There's quite a bit of logistics to do. I mean, we got to arrange bus travel down here. We got to have a practice field for these guys. We got to get a hotel for them. We got to arrange meals for them. And there's a whole bunch of logistical things we have to do in a real short period of time. It's a little bit unlike the national final because at least with the national final, we have a 2-week grace period. We would be actually on a bye this week, waiting for the winner of Langley and Saskatoon. That winner to come to Windsor for the national final. And that's one of the disappointments I think Mike talked about that's evident with us. It was the Ontario's rotation to host the national championship this year. So we'd be sitting here with a bye week waiting for the winner at West of Cundamar Place. And that was it was a tough decision for us to make from an executive level back in the spring when we did it, but we thought it was the right thing to do, and it ended up being the right thing to do. Having a 23 and 24-year-olds is a difference maker. So we're going to be playing the Quebec champion, like I said, the North River, Saber Cats, at 2 o'clock on Saturday at the stadium. They were undefeated in the Quebec Junior Football League. Real good squad. It's their fourth consecutive championship in the Quebec League, so it's a pretty good football team that's coming in. We don't know a thing about them, not a thing. I mean, I looked at their roster last night and all this stuff's in French, and I didn't pass French in high school, so who the hell knows what they're doing? I don't know what pass or rush is in French, and I'll never figure it out. But we've got some logistical things to put together, but we're going to get them on a bus and get them down here. They're going to leave after practice on Thursday night to come into Windsor on Friday. They'll practice at our facility on Friday, play the game at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and sort of get them back on the bus and get them out of here. It's a quick deal, but I think like Coach LaChance mentioned, I think it's a nice fit, a nice fit ending for our kids this year. To have a championship team and play as well as we've played, it's going to be nice to have that extra game to do something. And heck, we'll call it the Eastern Canadian Championship because we can. Who's going to argue with this? It's two teams in East that are both the champions of their conferences. This game has one big kind of sideline to it. This week at the national final out west with Langley and Saskatoon, they're having the CJFL national meetings, and the biggest topic of discussion is the OFC coming back from associate member status back to the CJFL for full status, but bringing Quebec along with us. And they need it. I mean, they're having a Canadian final out west with two conferences playing. That's silly, but they're doing it. And, so we're going to play our game out east, but the big topic of discussion is getting Ontario, the OFC, back in the national picture and bringing Quebec back with us, because Quebec's been out of it for quite some time now. But to bring the 7 teams in our league and to bring the 5 teams in the Quebec League plus St. Leonard back into the mix, that'd be something like 13 teams back into full-time status in the CJFL, and that'd be great for the prosperity of the league and everything else on the national level. So this game has some great significance to it because I think it's going to be a little bit of a preview of what maybe can happen down the road. It'll be nice to have 4 conference champions and some kind of a rotation in the future. So that's the big discussions on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Out in Langley this week. That'll be, like I said, the biggest topic of discussion. So we're pretty excited to host these guys. We'll learn a little bit more as the week goes along. Like I said, we know nothing right now. I know they passed for a bunch and they rushed for a bunch on Sunday. They passed for a little over 300 yards and they ran for about $1.90. So they got to be okay. And so we're going to have some challenges there. But wait until they play on that wonderful pit on McDougall on Saturday at 2 o'clock. That'll bring anybody to its knees. So we're looking forward to getting them on their ultra-fast surface at Windsor Stadium and see what we can do with them then. So, but like I said, we're excited. I think Curtis and Jake would both say on behalf of the team, pretty excited about getting that extra game and playing somebody you haven't played in a long time. That'll be pretty exciting for the kids and a real good way to end a great season. And I hope I shouldn't say I hope, I know we'll play well on Saturday and represent our team and the community in the OFC real well. It really came from Darren Cacato, I think, as the head of the OFC, and I think he had the plan in mind was to get a little bit of a showcase game that it would show the CJFL people how interested we were in the bunch of us coming back. With St. Leonard coming out of our league last year, a great franchise that Tony Idaluca had there at St. Leonard, it's just better for them if they can play in that Quebec conference so we can have a true national scope. And I think once we're done with this Quebec thing, I believe we'll go to the Maritimes and try to get Holland College and those guys out there, get that group together, and then we can go coast to coast. We can actually go from the Maritimes right through to Vancouver, and that'd be the best way for this thing to work out. And I think that's the ultimate thing. But Darren kind of put it together. It wasn't really popular at the league level. Some guys were willing to take it on and some weren't. We said, heck, we might as well. We've got a nice squad. Let's go and do it. Give the people in the city an extra weekend of football they can watch and support us. And I think it was a good idea. And I'm impressed that Darren had the wherewithal to do it. Now, Darren's not paying for it. But nice of me was paying for it. But we'll put on a good show on Saturday. We'll have some fun and give the people a great extra week of football in the city. And like I said, I can't tell anybody what the game's going to be like. I don't have really any idea. I do know that the coach of the year in our league this year, the guy from Ottawa, he was the coach of the Ottawa Junior Rough Riders at one time, so he might have to call him and ask him for some input. But I'm not really well versed in their league yet and how strong they might be. But from their points for and against, to give up 48 points all year long, it's got to be a pretty good defense. And they scored 280 something, so they're a pretty prolific team. If I was to bet today, I would say the 23s will be accepted across the board. Okay. And I shouldn't say 23s will be accepted across the board. I think they're willing to let us play with 23s and 24s until we get to the national final, and then we'll have a ratio situation. If I was to bet today, that's what I say is going to happen. They have to stay 22 because of the way they're funded with the lottery corporation stuff out west. It's absolutely important for them to keep that connection. Somebody told me last week that 2 junior teams out there from the lottery, their lottery situation, got $170-something thousand each for their cut of the lottery. That's 3 times our budget, and that's just one shot. That's just from the lottery, and then but they're $400,000 and $500,000 and $600,000, budgets we're looking at. And we'd love to be 100 if we could. We'd be ecstatic to get it to 100. So it's tough, But I think that's, if I was to be a betting guy, I think they'll stay 22. They'll let us go 23 and 24, and then there'll be a ratio at the national final level where they might say you can only have 7 overage kids on the field, just like the CFL with their American-Canadian ratio on game day. I think that's where we'll end up. But you will not see them go to 23 or 24.
You know what? It was a great feeling, and these past couple of days have been great. Saturday was, like I said, it was an emotional win for me and for a lot of guys on the team. Not just me. It was my first football championship ever, basically. So emotions were soaring through the roof, and you know what? It feels great now to look back at it, and it was great. I was grateful for the opportunity, and we capitalized. It was awesome.
We were going to Herman. We won a lot of championships there, so it felt good winning there. And then coming to our next level, I didn't really know what to expect coming here. So winning another championship here just adds along with everything that happened in my high school days. Hopefully, we can do the three-peat next year and keep the dynasty going from Herman to Fratmen.
It's going to be fun. It was always in the back of my mind for the past couple days or past couple weeks. If we won, would we play another game? And now we get that chance just to play an extra game. It's always good because once you're rolling, you don't want it to stop. And this season has been great, and hopefully we can finish it off.
We know nothing about the team, so we have nothing. I don't really know. We haven't seen any film on them, so we don't really know any of their players or anything. So we're just gonna go in there and do what we can. Hopefully, win another game, get some more experience under our belt, and hopefully it'll help us next year in developing our team.